check out the evolution of piston design. So 20 years ago, this was pretty much state of the art in NASCAR. This is an 043, 1.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter oil ring, full round piston. This came from the guys at CP. This came out of my dad's engine, which we've been doing lots of videos. I actually will leave a link in the description box below for that full video series we've been doing on my dad's old resurrection project, getting that Ford C3 back on the dyno, back making power. Well, we gained almost 300 horsepower. Now that we did find out the engine was hurt, that's why it picked up so much. But one of the things we changed in making that huge gain wasn't just fixing the problem, we also modernized the piston and ring combination. We kept the same block, same heads, same manifolds, same cranks and rods, but this is the old piston. This is the new piston. You can already see a big difference. So this is, they call a full round piston, and this is a side relief piston. You can see the difference between these two pistons side by side, quite massive. But we also went much, much thinner on the piston rings. But that's not a problem. That's not even limiting the durability or how long that engine could last. Because this is an old school ductile moly ring. That's a ductile iron ring. This is a stainless steel ring. So we went from a 0.5 millimeter second ring, 043 top ring. This is a 0.7 millimeter top, 0.7 millimeter second. So it's half the thickness on the second ring. It's actually still almost half the thickness on the top ring, because an 043 ring, that 0.7 is 027. So we went from 043 to 027. We went from iron to steel. Now, one of the other cool things is this old school piston had lateral gas ports in it. This one still has lateral gas ports in the piston, but we also have gas ports in the ring as well. So we're doubling up. Small gas ports in the piston, small gas ports in the ring, because rings don't seal from the static tension of the ring. It's actually the gas pressure pushing the ring out against the cylinder wall. It's kind of like ring jiu-jitsu. We're actually using that cylinder pressure to create the ring seal, and that's what we're doing with this double up on the gas port. The next thing that we're doing in all of this, like if all that wasn't enough, right? We've modernized the piston design. We've upgraded the ring materials to be able to make the rings thinner, lighter, stronger, lower friction. But part of that lower friction is also the ring coatings themselves. As that ring slides against the cylinder wall, it's actually creating the #1 source of friction in the entire engine. Now, this old school ductile moly ring had a pretty low coefficient of friction, and one nice thing about that ring is it had porosity, so it could hold its own oil. Well, with the modern ring, that steel ring that has a PVD, that's a physical vapor deposition, a type of coating, how you apply it, that thinner coating, it actually has no porosity, which is why we have to hone the cylinders completely different. In the old day, you would basically finish with a single grit finish, make it pretty smooth, because it didn't have to hold a lot of oil because the ring could hold the oil. Well, today's steel rings with the PVD type coatings, we actually have to have a surface finish that's smooth on top, but with these valleys underneath to hold the oil, to be the lubricant, and to be the gasket, because these thinner coatings have more durability, because that old school ductile moly ring was about 800 Vickers hardness. These modern PVD coatings can be anywhere from 1700 to 2400 Vickers hardness, which is why those old rings lasted one race. Today, those things can last 3 races. So it's triple the life because of that increased hardness. So one of the things that comes along with that is it's going to live longer, it's going to have less friction because of the less surface area. We can also change the coefficient of friction on the coatings as well. We can go to a lower coefficient of friction coating, so we can reduce the mass, we can reduce the friction, we can basically increase the durability. All of that by thinking of these things as a system, right? It's not just the piston itself. It's the piston, it's the ring material, the coating, the design. All of that is what helps put together better durability, more power. We've taken that same engine as it was 20 years ago. We baselined it. It made 733 horsepower 20 years ago. It made 733 horsepower 3 months ago. And we're going through the engine. The only thing we're changing is we're going from this old school piston and ring combination with that old school hone, and we've modernized the hone, we've modernized the piston and the ring. So stay tuned to see the results.